In 2013, the company that we've always known as Bentley came out with their fragrance Intense for Men. Having quickly become very popular amongst the fragrance community, Bentley Intense for Men became a staple for those who wanted to smell like luxury while still on a budget. But does the fragrance stay up to the quality that the automotive company has always held? Does someone who really drive a Bentley, would they even use this fragrance? Bo Million here. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel one more time. If you have not already done so, I would love for you to click the subscription button, click the notification bell, press the like button for the YouTube algorithm, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. So I remember the day like it was yesterday. A friend of mine and I, we had car detailing companies, and so we went to a new client. This client happened to have a decent amount of money and a decent amount of recognition. So as we pull up to the property of the home, we had to type the code into the front gate. The gate opens up and we see the driveway, and in the driveway is none other than a Bentley Continental GT. This was the first Bentley that I had ever touched in my life. So this was a very monumentous occasion for me. My friend and I go up to the vehicle and start to do our work. And as we get to the interior of the vehicle, I sit down to start the vacuuming. And the smell that I smelled when I stepped into the vehicle was none other than pure satisfaction. The vehicle smelled so fresh. The vehicle smelled so clean. If you've ever smelt that new car smell, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's something about a brand new vehicle with fresh leather. Well, this vehicle was on another level. The leather was so supple. It was so raw. This was actually the best interior that I had ever worked on until this point. That smell will never leave my head, which leads me to the review. When it comes to Bentley Intense for Men, most people say it smells like the inside of a Bentley. People say that this fragrance reminds them of sitting inside of a Bentley. And after years of the automotive industry and working on cars, I have to say that this fragrance does not smell like the inside of a Bentley, unfortunately. Well, before we make the review too negative, let's just talk about the fragrance for what it is. I was walking through my local Burlington department store, and I went over to the fragrance section. In my local area of South Florida, Burlington has the best fragrance section out of any department store, any rack store, that is. So I'm walking up and down the fragrance aisle. There was about 4 shelves of fragrances, and I saw many fragrances. Banana Republic, Calvin Klein, name it, it was there as far as lower end stuff goes. And I picked up one fragrance that I was kind of interested in, but didn't care too much, but I wanted to give it a try. So I picked it up and I put it in my hand because I didn't have a cart, because I don't walk around with carts because I'm not weird. Sorry, I shouldn't have said all that. But in back of the fragrance that I was kind of interested in getting, there was another fragrance. It was Bentley Intense for Men. I saw the fragrance and I was shocked because I had no clue that it would be here. For many years, I heard that Bentley Intense for Men was one of the best lower end or entry level designer fragrances. Supposedly it had very boozy and leathery notes. I was actually quite interested in it, but I had just never picked it up because I never saw it in person until this moment. I checked the price tag and it said $30, which was amazing because every discounter I had found online had it for the same price, if not more. So as you can see, I picked it up. I took the fragrance home and I was so eager to try it, but I have a way of trying out fragrances for the first time. The last thing I want to do is introduce the world to a fragrance that might just be overall terrible. So here's what I did. As I was getting ready for bed after taking my shower and getting ready for bed, I took the box, I opened the box, and I took the fragrance out. I was very thoroughly pleased by the appearance of this fragrance. After all, I had only paid $30 for this fragrance, and even though there's a full retail of almost $100 for Bentley Intense for Men, at $30, this is a very appealing fragrance to look at. There's a decent quality bottle, and the glass, pretty legit and solid. The cap seemed very nice and durable, and although it's not magnetic and there's maybe not a clip-on, it's still a nice, snug cap to where I don't have to worry too much, although I don't plan on picking it up by the cap. Of course, right under the metal cap is a little, somewhat metal plastic interface piece that has the logo of the company on it. And on the bottom as well, there's the logo of Bentley, there's the batch number, there's the size, which this is 3.4 ounces, as well as the concentration, which is an EDP. So I took the fragrance and I sprayed it how I normally test fragrances I'm seeing for the first time. Once again, I don't want to introduce the world to a bad fragrance, so instead my wife suffers. I took the fragrance and sprayed 4 sprays on the front of my shirt and the front of my neck. And what I smelled when I'd sprayed it was amazing. But before we get into the smell, let's talk about the atomizer. The atomizer is nothing to brag about, but it's nothing terrible either. After all, what do you expect for a $30 fragrance? Hey, at least it's better than Lattafa. But what I smelt was very nice and very appealing. See, I had no clue what to expect outside of what I heard other people talk about. But the introduction, my first whiff, my first impression, I thought this fragrance was a very, very smooth fragrance. It smelled extremely mature under my nose. And as a matter of fact, my first impression of this fragrance blew me away. Let's get into the notes of this fragrance. The accords are woody, spicy, amber, rum, fresh spicy, smoky, leather, balsamic, aromatic, and cinnamon. Of course, this is all according to Fragrantica. It's so much, I had to write it down. Isn't that unbelievable? But it made sense. Most of those notes and accords I kind of smelled, right? It was definitely a bit woody. I noticed some of the smoothness of the amber. I definitely picked up on that rum note, but we're going to talk about more of that later. The leather and the cinnamon were definitely coming through. I don't know so much about the aromatic aspect, but I guess to each his own, right? But let's go over the actual notes of the fragrance. The top notes are black pepper, bay leaf, and bergamot. Middle notes are rum, woody notes, cinnamon, clary sage, African geranium, and base notes are incense, leather, benzoin, cedar, and patchouli. Now, all of those notes make sense to me. Well, at least a good amount makes sense to me. The opening seems like a pretty green type fragrance and definitely on the spicy aspect. But one of the things that I picked up on the top note, which is actually a mid note, is the rum note. When I first sprayed this fragrance on me, I really noticed that rum note coming through, and it added to the smoothness of the fragrance. But there was one problem with that. After about 5 minutes, that rum note went away, and the leather note as well as the cinnamon really began to pick up. Of course, there's a bit of green in there. Of course, there was a bit of spicy in there as well. But the more I wore this fragrance, the more it turned to a leather forward fragrance. Now here's the deal, I don't hate leather. Leather fragrances are fine with me, but I don't love it either. As a matter of fact, leather fragrances, when I smell them, tend to kind of leave a bad taste in my mouth. And that's not really something that you want someone who's smelling the fragrance to experience. Nonetheless, after a few minutes of wearing this fragrance, I really noticed that it was a leather, dry type of fragrance. Not my favorite smell in the world, but I didn't hate it. Fast forward, I go to sleep and I wake up in the morning. I usually get somewhere from 7 to 8 hours of sleep at night, and I still smelt it on my shirt. It still had very similar characteristics and qualities to basically where I'd left it. Still very leathery, still very cinnamony, very spicy, and it was an okay fragrance. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. So over the next few days, I tried to get myself to maybe adapt to the scent of the fragrance. After all, there are fragrances out there that take you a few times of smelling it and introducing it to your nose to actually begin to like it. So over the next few days, I was wearing it tonight. My poor wife had to smell it every night. And little by little, Bentley Intense for Men was really becoming quite appealing to me. And so I thought, here we go. We've got to do this. It's time to introduce her to the world. It's time to make this scent known. So one morning before going to work, I took the fragrance and I sprayed 4 sprays on the front of my neck like I always do. About half the sprays hitting my neck skin, half the sprays hitting my shirt collar. And then I did 2 sprays, one on each side of the neck. Just like so. And so I took the scent to the office. No one hated me. Of course, no one complimented me either, but no one hated me. And throughout the day, I'm getting my work done. I'm going through life, paperwork, phone calls, you name it, whatever. Well, I had to go do a run to a local store and pick something up. And when I stepped outside, something very interesting happened. By this point, I had been wearing the fragrance for about 6 hours. And when I stepped outside, the moment I stepped outside and the wind hit me in the face, I smelt Bentley Intense for Men. I smelt this little guy right here. And what I smelled was way different than the smell that I had been smelling on my own shirt and on my own neck. See, there's something about when you smell yourself and you put your nose up to yourself and you smell on your skin or on your shirt. There's something different. You're getting the full force of the fragrance as well as whatever you sprayed it on. But something was different about this occasion. Nonetheless, I went to my vehicle, turned on the air conditioner, and once again it happened. I got a whiff of Bentley Intense for Men. And then I realized something. Smelling Bentley Intense for Men in the air is totally different than smelling it on skin or on fabric. When I smelled it in the air, the smoothness of that rum note came back. The leather wasn't so aggressive. The cinnamon was more of a supporting factor and helped to the overall pleasance of the fragrance. I was appreciating the woody notes. The amber was coming through a little bit and it was nice and smooth. I'm saying all of that to tell you this. Bentley Intense is a very, very masculine scent. And masculine scents can be overbearing for a lot of people. And when you spray this fragrance on yourself and you think it might be a bit aggressive, because there's a big difference between smelling someone with this fragrance and smelling this fragrance on someone. If I'm walking by you and I notice this fragrance, that's a good thing. That's gonna be enjoyable. But if I go up to you because I noticed it and then I smell your neck, shout out to Jeremy Fragrance, I may not like it as much because I may not like the way that you smell. Nonetheless, the sillage of this fragrance is definitely nice and appealing. So being a fragrance that lasts all day, that is more known for winters and falls, or at least indoor cool weather, only being $30 at your local department store, I have to be honest. Bentley Intense for Men is a good fragrance and I will definitely not throw this thing away. This is a fragrance that I will find myself going to from time to time, and it's going to add a great place in my fragrance collection. Real quick before we sign out though, I want to give one lucky subscriber a decant of Bentley Intense for Men. If you've been interested in getting your nose on this fragrance, this could be a great opportunity for you. All that you need to do is this: be within the 48 continental states of the United States, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and go ahead and comment in the comment section below your thoughts of this fragrance. Whether it's good or bad, whoever comments, I will go ahead and add them into a random drawing, and if your name is picked, I will reply to your comment. I usually reply to all the comments, but I'll reply to your comment specifically and I'll let you know that you won the giveaway. Hey, I'll take 5 mils of this for free. Be sure to enter and I appreciate it. That being said, guys, Bo Million signing out. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have not already done so, go ahead and click the subscription button, click the notification bell, press the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.